All right, hello and welcome and thank you for joining. My name is Tracy, for those of you who don't know. I am the worldwide customer support lead for HP PrintOS SiteFlow. I'm here today with Gabrielle, who is our HP PrintOS SiteFlow customer success manager. Today, I'm super excited to share with you after several months of hard work from the product and engineering teams, the upgraded shipping section of HP PrintOS. We will be reviewing several topics today, but everything that we share today will be fully documented on a new knowledge base with a new set of articles. All right. The purpose of our time together today is to review the improvements and new functionality of the last step in the print production process and everybody's favorite section, shipping. As you may know, over the past few years, SiteFlow has undergone updates to all sections of the software, with the last being shipping. We have collected requests, feedbacks, and the pain points that you all face daily. Because of this, we have created an experience that is intuitive, reduces the possibility of errors, and makes the shipping process easier and faster. Along with the new, we will also go over the migration process, how to access the UI and start using the new shipping section, as well as what can be done with both versions while both versions are still available. Finally, we will create a default station together and then a shipment using that station. All right, so diving in, let's look at what's new. The first thing you'll notice that's different is the look of the user interface. Here, you can see we have all of this, the same shipping list, same tabs at the top, filtering with the look and feel to match the rest of the newer sections of SiteFlow. The only difference you'll find here is in the configuration. We now have stations, as well as under ship, this new stations here. This is taken the place of what we used to see as reconcile and dispatch. All right, so the newest reconcile and dispatch features, we'll start here. The new section includes the fully renewed shipping stations for faster, more intuitive, and error-proof reconcile and dispatch operations. The new station settings include an interactive preview and a clearer grouping per functionality. So I'd like to show here is we have the new stations configuration. This is what we used to see in the browser window. This is the new setup here. So on the left, we have the preview. And on the right, the different settings. These settings are no longer settings per session. Instead, they can be saved, giving more control over what settings can be accessed by the user, which simplifies the operator experience and reduces the probability of errors. So we would think that the station is set up by your management team, your shipping supervisor, your production manager, so forth. And then those stations can be chosen and reused by the users. On the top, we have the header that includes the order ID, the ship by date, our shipping method information, carrier code, service, and alias, and then the status of the shipment. Next, we have the ribbon that includes the next action to be taken. It would also show your error message here, your warning messages, and your successful messages. As you make additions or adjustments to the settings on the right, these additions or adjustments can be seen in the preview of the left, making the interactive part here. So if I change the station name, you can see the station name changes here. As well, we can add functionality. Will allow the user to edit the shipment and split the shipment, and you can see that the buttons are added here. So this will be what you see once we finish with the configuration. So here we have also better messaging, more intuitive for users. And when, like I said, this banner will also show the different error messages, success, but it's also color coded. So if we see here, you can see that the black is an ongoing process. Green means that a successful action has been completed. Yellow is a warning message, and red, of course, is for error. All right, so the next new functionality, and maybe the most valuable to you because it will save the most time in shipping, is the selectable scanning modes. It gives the option to remove clicks, which saves time and money on the shipment. So if we go here, you can see the different scanning modes here. We can scan by single item, scan by line item, scan by shipment. You can also filter by pending items, the ones that still need to be reconciled, or you can find the last scanned very easily using these filters. We'll reset. Also, you'll notice the new scan button and unscan button. So we no longer will click the barcode to scan, but instead the scan button. Then we can unscan here. Okay, so the next one on the list of new features is our much better, easier to use packaging model. With this new model that includes USB scales, the allocation of items and packaging operations are simplified. So here we have our ability to edit the packaging. And you can see that there are all of the items here that have not been allocated. In this case, they've all been allocated automatically. We can clear all. That deletes the packages and the items that have been allocated. We add a package, and then we can move them all back in. We can clear all here, which removes the items and leaves the package. Then we can also move over one at a time, an item at a time, or one of the items at a time. Add more packaging and move it over. Oops, I didn't select the package, so I'm going to move those back. Select the correct package and then move them over. So once we have all of the items reconciled are in a package and there's not any empty packaging, we can save. And this is an option in the station settings as well. You can have the option to allow manual packaging or not. All right, so next, we will go over some the new improvements. So here, I'd like to point out that the wall is no longer required to be displayed in the station. You can include it and optionally hide it, as well as leave it out altogether. So back here, we have our wall, and we can hide it, or we can leave it out altogether. Since we have a wall assigned, we do see the box that we're working on here. From here, we can filter by ship by date, with red being overdue, yellow being due today, and green being due in the future. You'll also notice that we can filter by full boxes. And we see the full boxes are visually indicated here with a black outline. It just means that these are the boxes that have been fully reconciled and they're ready to dispatch. You can also sort by ship by date or box number. And then ascending or descending. All right, so there is also a very nice full screen button here. So when you enable this, the site flow menu disappears on the left, or you can have it added back in, just like that. The next improvement is that the display of information is much better than before. If set in the configuration, a station can now display the last note added to the order. You see that here. When viewing the item's details, you can now easily see the status of the item's batch. And if an item has been reprinted, the R reprint icon is now displayed. So here we see our order note. And that comes from the note that is last added to the order here. Then in the item's details, you can see the batch number, barcode, and the status of the batch here. This guy. This again. There we go. All right. Another improvement, and this one is my personal favorite, is the handling of documents. Before, when the shipment has been dispatched, only the labels and invoices documents were available. Now, after dispatching and receiving the documents, you have access to all of them, and the ability to view, download, and print. It's no longer a requirement to have a printer assigned. Before you would get an error message if you didn't have a printer assigned, but you don't have to anymore in case you don't want to print them automatically. Without any printer assigned, this could be used as a testing station. Maybe you just need to test that the data is coming out properly, or that your label is designed correctly, and you just want to view it. Or maybe you just don't need the commercial invoice for one of your carriers. It's not necessary, but it still gets returned by the carrier, so you can turn off and on the printers as needed. For split shipments, before there was a ship anyway button. It wasn't really clear what it did, wasn't intuitive to use, and only allowed for the creation or discard of a fixed quantity. Now there is a split shipment button, and the user can choose the quantity as well as create a reprint job with that defined quantity. The last improvement that we'll look at today is the USB scale usability. Before, you had to create a fresh desk ticket, ask support to enable this. Now we can enable the USB scale functionality in the UI, and you can see that it's whether it's enabled or not. Before, there was also a limited usability in the packaging model, and now you can enable the functionality in the station settings and easily connect the USB scale from the packaging model. please note that we are supporting the USB scale model, USB Dymo M10 at this time. All right, so that's all of the new and improvements. So let's now move on to migration. How to migrate to the new shipping section. There will be some time where both the existing and the new sections will be available. Accessing the new, accessing both of them through the different stages of development will depend on which release stage we're in. Right now, we are in the early release stage, and the only way to access is to use the URL by adjusting the URL by adding the word shipping. I've highlighted it here. Also, I've included it in the Zoom chat if you guys just want to copy and paste. On the first release, which we expect to be the end of July, admin users will have access to the new section using the Try Our New UI button, and all other user roles will access using that adjusted URL. At this time, at that first release, we do also expect to have all the knowledge base available. I've also included that link in the chat if you want to copy it and grab it. For the end of support of the existing UI, what that means is we'll do no more changes or fixes on the existing UI as of January 1st. So after peak season, we will no longer support the existing UI. Full deprecation is expected to be January 31st, where this URL will automatically be the default, and you won't be able to go back. All right, so migration from the existing section to the new is just super easy. The only action needed is to create new stations and start using them. None of the following shipping related settings requires any update and will work just like today. The shipping methods, the walls, label printers, agents, packages, SKU and orders, dispatch alerts, SKU package and max item settings. All of this don't need to touch. No changes are needed there, and they will be compatible with both the existing and the new section. In the first release, 95 of the most used functionalities are covered. What that means is that we will have the station that will reconcile and dispatch on extra scan. For the next releases, we will include stations that reconcile only and stations that dispatch only. And after that, there'll be more features that are considered. For the version compatibility, in the same account, you can replace all shipping stations at once or progressively. That would be up to your comfortability level, or maybe you have a specific use case that you would like to try first before moving all of them over. Reconcile and dispatch selected shipments in current stations and others in new. So you don't have to reconcile and dispatch everything in the new. You can choose which ones you want to use. And you can use the same walls in the new and current stations. The walls will be compatible on both. Now, what we cannot do is start reconciling a shipment and in the existing UI and try to finish reconciling and dispatch in the new sections, and vice versa. You'll get an invalid scanned error message in both cases, although the error message looks a bit different. What you'll need to do if you find that you need to switch from either the new or the existing, you'll need to flush the box and start fresh, or complete the shipment in where you're at. So from beginning to end, either in the new or the existing. And that's it. That's how easy it is to migrate. All right, I think we can move on to the fun part. All right, so let's create a new station. What I'm going to do is start from the old UI. You can see here, this is the old UI with our old menu, our reconcile and dispatch. Now, when I add in the word shipping, which is how I get to the new UI, we now have our new menus. So under configuration, we'll select stations, and you see we have a list of all the stations available. If you have not created any stations yet, you'll have a nice little message that says, please click here to create a new station. To begin, here you can see we have edit, duplicate, or mark as that inactive. You can filter active or inactive. We have the same tabs here, and then our add new button. Since we've already got a list here, that's what we'll do. Click on add new. Give our station a name. I think we're on number 5 iteration here, and we can give it a description if we want. Okay. Now, each one of these is a menu of settings separated by functionality. So in the shipment details here, we can add important information that we would like the user to see. You see that as I add them, they're added to the preview here. And we can do the same with the contact details. Say you have an issue with needing the correct email and phone number for a carrier, and that needs to be checked before you dispatch, you have it right here in the UI. Also, you're able to display the extra data if it's included in the order data. So if you could add, you can add the name exactly as it shows in the order data, so SiteFlow can find it, and then it will display here. No need to leave that. All right, we're finished with shipment details. Now we have the option to include a wall or not. I'm going to choose my general wall, and if you notice, since we've added the wall, we have the box showing here with the option to flush there, and then our wall that can be hidden. Then next we have our dispatch. This one is the dispatch on a single item. So it would, if you have that one enabled, it's the same functionality where a single item would reconcile and dispatch at the same time. And this is where you would choose your printers, which printers you want to enable, and then, or which documents you want to enable to print, and then which printer you want to assign it to for each one. Under packaging, we add the edit packaging, and you see the button is added here. We can have the packaging prompt at dispatch, and then we can enable USB scales there. Also, you have the ability to pick only a few options for the packages. So let's say you have hundreds of packages assigned or created in your account, but for this station, you only need the one that's in front of you, or the branded pink one for whatever product that you're using at the station. You can choose only those for the station, and those will be the only ones that can be chosen when you use the manual packaging. Here we have quality control with the thumbnail pop-up and how long you want it to show. And then we have the option to allow the operator to edit the shipment, split the shipment. Here's our scan modes. You can have a read-only scan where, say, you just want to search and take a look at how the progress is going for a certain shipment, or you need to find something specific, but you don't want to scan it to reconcile. Then you could do a read-only scan. And then you can choose what you allow your operator to scan. You want the single item, line item, or scan shipment. This will add our custom quantity box here. You can turn on or off the thumbnails display. Want to view last order note, see it's added here. And then the dispatch alert pop-up. So you can see that the alert is already included at the item level. Turning it on here will allow the pop-up for that dispatch alert on scan. All right, I think we have configured all of the settings that we want. So I'm going to save it. And we get a successful message here. Now, going to under the ship section, the menu stations. This is where we will now reconcile and dispatch. So here we have our single item scan selected. So when I click to scan, or when you use your scanner, your handheld scanner, or if you enter it here, you'll reconcile one item. You notice that the box is still black. We've got a message that the scanned quantity has been updated, and then it's telling us the next action. So we want to scan the next item. The reason it's still black and not indicating a successful operation is because we're still reconciling all the items. All right, so if we decided that we want to scan the whole line item, we know that we've counted 5 and we just want to scan all 5. Clicking the button again gives us a total of 5. We can unscan there just in case. We made a mistake and we need one scanned. Again, then add in a specific quantity. And we get that quantity. Next is the scan shipment, which is the fastest way. You can choose any of these because it'll scan the entire shipment. So whatever barcode you scan next will scan the entire shipment. Now you notice we have completed the shipment reconciliation, and now we're ready to dispatch. Our ribbon turned green and our box turned green. All right, so now here, I'm just going to check the packaging and make sure that we have what we want. Let's say that we need to put this one in another package, move it over. We have all of our packages allocated, and we need to use USB scales to weigh. And this is where we would connect our USB scales. And you'll have a automatic allocation of the weight to the package that's selected, and then a model to walk you through the next package that needs to be weighed. I don't have a scale to demonstrate, unfortunately, but this is where it would be. Also notice that the weight here has the icon beside it, indicating that the weight is coming from the scale, whereas this one is coming from the data in SiteFlow. Okay, so we've got our packages allocated like we want. We're good. Now we're ready to dispatch. Let's look at the split shipment real quick. You say you've got everything reconciled, you're ready to go, and you notice that one of the books that you're shipping is damaged. So we go to the split shipment here. We need to reprint it, and we can say how many we need to reprint and create a new shipment. We can say if it's chargeable here, or we can discard them. You notice that the number is red here because this is a final action. If you discard the items, they'll be removed and you can't go back. There's the split shipment. So we're ready to dispatch. We can either click the dispatch button or do an extra scan. All right, so our status has changed to shipped. We have a message that says that it's shipped. Excuse me. And the ribbon is green. So we have completed the action successfully. Also notice that our box is gone since we're no longer reconciling. Here you have your shipping documents where you can view and download. Give me a pretty label. It's going to take a minute. Or you can print. Now, since I haven't selected any printers for this, I get the option to choose one. And there's our shipping label. Just make sure I've gone over everything. All right. And that's it. That's the new functionality, or the new shipping sections.